Maybe you're thinking about selling insurance and you've gone to some sort of opportunity meeting, but all you've been able to see are Rolexes, Ferraris, and fat stacks of cash being passed around members. It has to actually happen. And you're kind of wondering, is the insurance agency you're joining actually a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme? My name is David Duford at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producers, and I recruit agents nationally too, by the way, in final expense Medicare and annuities to sell over the phone or face-to-face. And the purpose of this video is to help you determine if the insurance agency you're thinking about joining is actually a pyramid scheme or a multi-level marketing organization. Now, you may be brand new to the insurance business, and most likely people who have these questions are brand new because you haven't been around long enough to know the unfortunate nature of what it is to sell insurance. So let me talk about kind of the basics, and then I'm going to go into looks like 7 different kind of factors to determine if the agency you're going to join is an actual MLM and something to be concerned with. So first of all, what do we mean when we say an MLM pyramid scheme? I use pyramid scheme because it's a word used by a lot of agents and a lot of people when describing a multi-level marketing opportunity. And it's not necessarily that the organization is a scam or an illegal operation. Pyramid scheme is a term that denotes an illegality, a type of operation. Most of these companies we'll talk about are actually legitimate, but they operate in a way that reminds a lot of people of being illegitimate and how they push the blue sky, they push the idea of extreme material wealth over and recruiting over what really matters the most. So again, that's what we mean by pyramid scheme. Like, you kind of know it when you see it. It's kind of one of them things. You walk in and there's more talk about recruitment than there is about producing, and it seems like a cult type feel to it. There's usually a charismatic leader, somebody who's leading the crowd, and it feels like a tent revival or something like that, and you just don't feel right. So you'll kind of know it when you feel it. Now, the thing is, in the insurance business, is that all organizations operate in a multi-level marketing way. And what I mean by that is that the organization or the insurance sales business is organized in a direct sales format where there are multiple tiers, where the company, the carrier's at the top, and then the agent's at the bottom, and then there's a bunch of fat in between that sometimes it's fat, sometimes it's good and it's helpful, like a good agency that will train you. But so there is a multi-level marketing type approach. But what most people are concerned about is not the tier system or the hierarchy as much as the culture of multi-level marketing, what it means, what it entails, what it implies. And so that's kind of what I'm going to focus on here, because that's what you need to be paying attention to. It's not illegitimate because of a hierarchical structure. All organizations have a similar structure anyway, right? You know, the executives at the top and the workers at the bottom. It's not that, it's the culture that comes along that you should be concerned with. So let's talk about some of these things. And I've mentioned a few of these already, but I'll kind of hash them out further. So the first thing here, that 7 signs that you're in an MLM pyramid scheme, quote unquote, is the recruitment over production rule. So here's my belief. I run an agency. I've been doing this since 2013. I recruit agents nationally to sell a variety of products over the phone and face-to-face. And for me personally, I think the important thing you need to do as an agent is learn how to sell this stuff, right? That should be your first primary directive. Nothing else matters more than learning the craft of selling insurance. And if your goal long-term is to develop an agency, that's great. But why would you develop an agency as a new person? You don't have anything to teach. You don't have any street cred, as I like to use in reference to describing people who know what they're doing. The problem is most of these MLM cult type of cultures focus on recruitment over producing, and they don't care that you coming in have no actual experience. They want your network. They want your people. They want them recruited to sell insurance or to sell insurance to them, and then to repeat that process over and over. So if you get this sense when you sit down into an opportunity meeting that is equivalently, if not more important than actually selling insurance, you're likely in an insurance MLM. What's the alternative? Look further, do more due diligence, find organizations that value skill development and sales over personal or over recruitment, and you're likely to find a better outcome. Again, the problem is, you got to remember too, coming into these as a new agent, the person recruiting you probably doesn't know what they're doing either. Very common experience. Number 2, flagrant conspicuous consumption. I like that terminology. What do I mean by flagrant conspicuous consumption? I'll give you a quick story. So I had a guy I recruited years ago, and he was actually from a direct sales type of background, had done some MLMs. And he went to this well-known MLM cult that is in the insurance business. I could say their name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, but then I'd get sued for libel or some bullshit. But anyways, they sat him around the table, and the opening process of getting excited about selling for this organization involved the cult leader passing his Rolex around and like looking at it in awe. It's a watch. Oh my God. And then literally, and I wasn't joking when I first started this video, literal fat stacks of cash, like bound, that they passed the cash around as a sales tactic, okay? And then you go see the guy's private jet, like the being in awe of this guy's stuff was the sales pitch. This is, it cracks me up because it's so stupid. But people do this, and they think this is how you sell people. And I guess it does work, because they probably wouldn't do it if they weren't. It wouldn't work on me. I just think it's stupid. But anyways, if you are involved in something like this, and you're being showed cars, houses, you're being showed like the stuff I've mentioned, this is a cult MLM that's trying to influence you, okay? You need to be very wary about going any further. Because again, you know, if you look at my videos, I don't talk about wealth. I don't talk about my personal income. I don't show you what I drive. I don't show you my stack of cash. I don't make my material, externalities a thing on video. I think it's kind of cheap theater, really. And a lot of it can be bullshitted. I don't mean to curse, but it's the truth. You can go rent a Ferrari and stand in front of it and get that impact and then go turn it back in. There's places you can rent this stuff. So I don't do that because to me it's like low-level base stuff. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's just stuff. And it's usually a substitute for a lot of people's low egos or self-esteem. So anyways, if you see this stuff, run, please. It doesn't mean anything. They're trying to entrap you with their wonderful made-up world of stuff to try to cover for their lack of personal self-esteem. Okay, number 3, 10 revival level rah-rah. So, probably better to say this as rah-rah. So when you walk into an organization, if there's a lot of jumping jacks involved, if there's push-ups involved, if there's yelling, hooting and hollering, dancing around, that is telltale cult level stuff, all right? Getting you physically involved and invigorated as opposed to a thoughtful contemplation of the opportunity is usually a sign that this is rah-rah. Again, if this is a motivational talk more than a skill development talk, you might be inside of an MLM insurance agency. So again, what's the difference? Watch my videos for the difference. I do very little rah-rah. I talk about the facts. I talk about my opinions. I let them know when they're my opinions. I let you decide what you want to do. I don't force anything down your throats. I try to have like a human conversation that isn't built on theatrics. Because that's what the rah-rah is intended to do, is to give you this experience, which again is a way to wiggle their way into their mind about being they're the only opportunity, they're the best, etc. If the ladder to climb, number 5, again, number 5, this is really critical. And it's psychologically it works. What human beings want is a sense of belonging, and they want status. I do jiu-jitsu, and we have a belt system. We know where people stand, and we know there's a pecking order involved. And the black belts have put their time in. They're very good at what they do. The white belts aren't. They're brand new, right? There's a pecking order. We want to know where we stand amongst others and how we compare. It's a very human and normal thing that we want. And what MLMs do is they put out an arbitrary ladder. And when I say arbitrary, it's made up. There's no reason or facts it has to be that way. It's just how they design their business. But a lot of these MLMs, what they do is they have terminology and they give you symbols to, again, give you this distinction amongst others. You get like an emblem or a logo, or you're a vice president, or you're just some kind of executive, or etc. these are all things, again, which are critical to human beings and having and seeking status and wanting to be in, you know, where they stand in the pecking order. But you got to be, it's not that this is a wrong thing to do, it's fine. But the thing is it's a ploy to sometimes pass along lower commissions, okay? You're a vice president of XYZ organization, and your commission level is 40 points lower than it would be if you were with David DeFord's agency. I mean, like, you can have all this status, you can have all this, like, respect and stuff, but at the end of the day, does it actually translate into economic success and actually money in your bank? Is it something that translates into a betterment of yourself or a better version of yourself? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The point I'm trying to make is question them. Don't just take their status and symbols as surface level. Most people do. They don't ever look at it deeper. Kind of call it out and see if it actually stands on something. Symbolism, I kind of mentioned that. In-group language, I did a really good talk, and I would advise all of you all out there, if you haven't checked out Kyle Studer's page, he used to be in an insurance MLM, and he does a lot of his videos on the MLM aspect to the business, and it's really good. His stuff is really good. But we did like an hour and a half long interview where he talked about his experience, and one of the things he mentioned was kind of the in-group language, or the inner circle, etc. What you'll find with a lot, and this is true of all cults, they have a specific language, they have a pattern of behavior, they kind of develop their own language, they really do. And again, this is what all groups do that try to distinguish themselves amongst others to, you know, establish themselves as an in-group or an out-group. So you just have to be very careful of that. Again, is there an example of that? Is something in there? Sometimes it's phrases or sayings that are made. I'm trying to think of some specific MLM examples. I can't think of any right now, but if something doesn't sound like normal language and people are communicating differently, it's likely because those more experienced people kind of bought into this psychology and are using this language as a way to differentiate them in the in group versus you. And again, what do human beings want? They want to be in. They want to be included, not excluded. Number 7 here, last one on the list, a flamboyant, charismatic frontman. Again, I guess you could call me kind of I don't know if I'm flamboyant. I don't even know if I'm charismatic. I am a frontman to my organization. Again, every large organization has this, right? It's not a frontman. You know, we think of Apple and Steve Jobs. We think of Elon Musk at Tesla. There's all sorts of examples of frontmen that lead the organization that are kind of the character of the company, right? It's not a bad thing. But again, like all cults do, and there's always this fine line. There's always some flamboyant, charismatic that leads the organization with these insurance MLMs in many cases. And they're kind of the heart or the soul of the business. And they're kind of held in this higher level of esteem. They're untouchable. They're demigod status. Again, if you get this sense as you go into one of these opportunity meetings that this person is not just, you know, a good resource, but is something greater or is trying to make themselves greater than that on some different level, you might be inside of an insurance MLM. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's the outcome of this? The whole thing of me putting this video together is really just to advise you to take your time to do your due diligence. The unfortunate truth of this business is most organizations operate in an insurance cult MLM type of fashion. You've got to be very wary of whomever you join. You got to be very careful in what steps you take. Because what happens, again, I did a survey on this. You can go look it up. It's on YouTube. It's 103 reasons why insurance agents failed or quit the business. I actually surveyed a bunch of agents on my 10,000 plus agent newsletter, and 103 were nice enough to contribute. And the number one reason agents quit, any idea? It was because they picked the wrong agency. The wrong agency. So that's why I went into detail in this video, because most agents, if I surveyed them further and asked them which agency did you join, 8 out of 10 of them would have been an MLM type of approach. And so this is something that's preventable. But it's hard to know this unless you've run into video like this, and now you kind of have some knowledge and some basis to discern if what you're being shown is actually reality or if it's just a big fluff job to try to squeeze whatever they can out of you. So please, 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 take your time, do your due diligence. Don't get head over heels for any organization. This is a business. This is a career, and a great opportunity. But with the wrong selection, and most people do make the wrong selection. So you guys see what I'm saying? The odds are you're making the wrong selection. Before you jump in with anything, take your time to do your due diligence and research. It's well worth the extra week to 2 weeks studying of figuring out which agency to join than jumping in at the first thing because you're just so excited and they've successfully manipulated you and they know what to say and how to say it, and then finding out it's nothing like you're promised. If you're interested in joining an agency that's focused on skill development, on competence building over rah-rah, then DeFord Insurance Group is your agency. That's my company. If you want to learn more about how it works, how I develop insurance agents into top producers, both final expense, Medicare, annuities, over the phone and face-to-face, go to davidduford.com/FAQ. And then you'll get all sorts of information on how my agency works, lots of information, probably too much, but more is better usually in this business. And you'll know if what I do is a good fit for what it is you're looking to accomplish. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I'm happy to enter dialogue with you and see whatever I can do to help you, okay? David Duford logging off. We'll see you next video. Take care.